Oasis Audio presents The Heart of the Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman, read for you by Chris Fabry. Chapter 1. Staying in Love After the Wedding. Why is it that so few couples seem to have found the secret to keeping love alive after the wedding? Why is it that a couple can attend a communication workshop, hear wonderful ideas on how to enhance communication, return home, and find themselves totally unable to implement the communication patterns demonstrated? Finding the answer to these questions is the purpose of this book. It is not that the books and articles already published are not helpful. The problem is that we have overlooked one fundamental truth. People speak different love languages. Most of us grow up learning the language of our parents and siblings, which becomes our primary or native tongue. Later, we may learn additional languages, but usually with much more effort. Language differences are part and parcel of human culture. In the area of love, it is similar. Your emotional love language and the language of your spouse may be as different as Chinese from English. No matter how hard you try to express love in English, if your spouse understands only Chinese, you will never understand how to show love to each other. Being sincere is not enough. We must be willing to learn our spouse's primary love language if we are to be effective communicators of love. My conclusion after 30 years of marriage counseling is that there are basically 5 emotional love languages, 5 ways that people speak and understand emotional love. However, there may be numerous dialects. The number of ways to express love within a love language is limited only by one's imagination. The important thing is to speak the love language of your spouse. Once you identify and learn to speak your spouse's primary love language, I believe that you will have discovered the key to a long-lasting, loving marriage. Love need not evaporate after the wedding, but in order to keep it alive, most of us will have to put forth the effort to learn a secondary love language. At the heart of mankind's existence is the desire to be intimate and to be loved by another. Marriage is designed to meet that need for intimacy and love. That is why the ancient biblical writing spoke of the husband and wife becoming one flesh. That did not mean that individuals lose their identity. It meant that they would enter into each other's lives in a deep and intimate way. Again and again I have heard the words, "Our love is gone. Our relationship is dead. We used to feel close, but not now. We no longer enjoy being with each other. We don't meet each other's needs." Their stories bear testimony that adults as well as children have love tanks. I am convinced that keeping the emotional love tank full is as important to a marriage as maintaining the proper oil level is to an automobile. Running your marriage on an empty love tank may cost you even more than trying to drive your car without oil. Whatever the quality of your marriage now, it can always be better. Warning: understanding the 5 love languages and learning to speak the primary love language of your spouse may radically affect his or her behavior. People behave differently when their emotional love tanks are full. Before we examine the 5 love languages, however, we must address one other important but confusing phenomenon: the exhilarating experience of falling in love. At its peak, the in-love experience is euphoric. We are emotionally obsessed with each other. We go to sleep thinking of each other. When we wake up, that person is the first thought on our minds. We long to be together. The person who is in love has the illusion that his beloved is perfect. We have been led to believe that if we are really in love, it will last forever. We will always have the wonderful feelings that we have at this moment. Nothing could ever come between us. Nothing will ever overcome our love for each other. Eventually, however, we all descend from the clouds and plant our feet on earth again. Our eyes are opened and we see the warts of the other person. We recognize that some of his or her personality traits are actually irritating. He has the capacity for hurt and anger, perhaps even harsh words and critical judgment.